Hello, one and all. Welcome. My name's Fear. This is Battle Vortex, and the kitty is in her throne room today, so we may or may not hear from her. Today, we're going to talk about some Crowfall. And we got some topics for you. I think we broke the community. We're going to talk about it. Let's just get into this. All right. So here we are. We're going to have to get our boy. We got our co-host today, Extreme. He's in here somewhere. Extreme, you there? Extreme? Hello? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Is my mic freaking? You there? Well, maybe we don't have Extreme. We had him a minute ago. Maybe he had to go to the little boy's room. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to talk about some Crowfall today.
I'm here.
Oh, there he is. Hello,
Sorry.
Extreme. How are you?
Much relieved.
But okay. Alrighty, I'm just going to drop that right there. That could be some kind of strike. So yeah, we got some topics today. I think the main topic that I wanted to bring up today is I think last weekend I may have broken the community, and I wanted to talk about that. We were talking about avoiding PvP and the ramifications of that and stuff like that. So,
No, and the ramification of speaking out, apparently.
well, speaking out
That was mentioned.
can get you hurt. It can get you hurt in this community. So that's a thing.
I remember the speaking out part, and the avoiding PvP, I think, was after.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, basically this show is a community podcast. If you want to join us, you can join us voice, or you can join us in the Twitch chat. You're always welcome. And yeah, we will not, we will not shun you for having a different opinion than ours. Now, if you say you don't like Moon, that's different. We might have to ban you for that, but otherwise, you're okay. So the things that are happening in game right now. One thing is obviously the Easter event got moved to this weekend. It started yesterday. It's in the shadow. If you're not in the shadows, you can certainly come on in and check it out. We also have some comments about that. So you haven't actually started really with the event, right?
I have started as of now, and I don't have any complaints about it, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been at it for maybe about an hour, maybe a little over an hour. I've already gotten 61. So.
Wow. I got 16. I'm doing great.
Yeah. I even ran into a sun guy, and both of us were like, you know what? It's not worth it. Let's just go our separate ways and keep looking for these damn things.
That's pretty nice. You got a little NPE there. What's that called? NAP. Sorry, non-aggression pact.
They initiated it. I wasn't in the mood. I went and then looked up on the leaderboard. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Did they start jumping?
Yeah, they started jumping.
Oh, okay. Well, they did the universal sign for "Don't kill me."
Yeah. Well, I looked them up on the leaderboard and saw that they have the only thing they have to their name is 2 deaths.
Oh.
So I was like, yeah, this person probably is definitely not looking for a fight.
Probably not. Well, you're very sweet not to hurt them. Don't tell Kirimaro that, though. She will have a fit. All right, so
let her have a fit.
I'm just kidding. I don't care. Oh my, we've already got spam going on. That's beautiful. Yeah, damn, you're fast. So the only thing I think about the event, the only thing that I have a complaint about is that the world rules are 50% drop, and the event rules are 100% drop. And I think that the world rules should supersede the event rules in that case. So
really, I did not know that there was 2 separate. I missed that part.
Well,
I just
Shadows
saw
has
the.
always been 50% drop,
I know that.
and the
I just
event's
saw the.
100.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and reread that because I just saw the event was the items were lootable. That was it. I didn't realize it was 100% drop
Yeah, it even
for
says
the
so
items.
on the actual basket. If you look at the basket, it'll tell you that all your peeps will drop if you're defeated in battle.
All right. Oh, I'm reading the basket right now. Let's see. No export. Don't care about that. Equip allows grants. I don't see anything on there that just says. It just says prevent stealth while baskets in your progression. Equipped during the Great Hunt event allows the gathering of cheeps. Grants the Great Hunt speed power. Oh, forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, so you can go extra fast to get your peeps.
Increase your move modifier out of combat. The ability can only be activated while out of combat and is granted by equipping blah blah blah. Cooldown for its power is reset by destroying. Oh, it's a useless skill. Care about that.
Yeah, I don't have my character that's got the basket, but I could move over to the basket. I mean, wrong keyboard. Hope I didn't
I
stop the
will.
stream or something.
No, it doesn't look like it.
All
Oh,
right.
maybe you did. It's kind of frozen on my end.
No, it still says it's live. We're okay.
Yeah. Okay, it's just my end that's frozen.
You're
Oh, yeah.
frozen. You're
Yeah.
frozen in time, bro.
Oh,
So we'll
there we
just
go.
go over here. You can look at the basket.
I want to say something
And
though. I like your shirt. It looks like chainmail. I like that.
oh, thanks. Oh,
Mhm.
this is why it's not working. Oop. Okay, here's the basket. Oh, it says I have it equipped. Oh, I was doing it on this character, so I did have it. Okay. All right. So, yeah, and see, it says prevent stealth, right?
Yeah.
And the word on the street, friendly ignition group, something the fire street vendor. But it does say, well, it did say, wait,
I'm gonna go see if I can't find it cheap and see if it says there.
it might say it on the cheaps itself. Hold
Yeah,
on.
I'm gonna go look on the. I'm gonna go find it cheap and
I
look
got
there.
one in my bank. I'll go
Okay.
down there.
Okay.
I'll go down to the bank because I put all my 16 away because I don't want nobody taking them.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard for me to get these things because I'm lazy and shiftless. Okay, here's a cheap. See, okay, 100% of your cheaps will drop when defeated.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I just think it should follow the world rules, not be separate, a separate set of
Yeah.
rules. If the world rules is 100%, then it could be 100%. But if it's the world rules are 50%, now I guess if you were running it in Drags and the Shadow, that would be a thing. But you know, at the same time, it's like if you want the
And
50% drop, then you probably could want to play in the Shadows. I guess. I mean, I don't see any other reason why you wouldn't. But since the Dregs doesn't even have the event, they should have just followed the Shadow rules.
yeah. I mean, it's annoying, but it's such a minor issue that I honestly just it is what it is to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only, like I said, that was the only complaint I had, which
Yeah.
isn't
Aside
much.
aside from that, I'm enjoying it so far. The baskets are dropping pretty fast. The amount I'm getting out of them, 1 to 3, seems to be pretty good. The only issue I have with that is like depending where the basket spawns, the Chiefs will sometimes bounce out and end up in very weird areas that are somewhat difficult to get to. Not
Uh huh.
impossible, but just slightly difficult. Like I've had a few of them sit there and literally bounce through the ceiling and up onto the roof. So then I have to sit there and figure out how am I going to get up there.
You
Because
have the
my
worst time with drops, I'll tell you.
yeah, because my character is a human Vindy, so I don't have the double jump or the glide or anything like some other
What?
classes can. Yeah, so
Oh, well, I was playing on my Archer, and she doesn't have any of that stuff either. So,
yeah. So I mean, like I said, again, minor things that don't really hinder the event at all. It's just more of okay, how do I get up there now?
yeah. So, yeah, that sounds like an interesting thing. I
Yeah.
guess if you're in a group, you can have your friend go get it for you, but,
Yeah, but
but,
then they get it and you
well,
don't.
yeah, well, they'll give it back because they're nice guys, right?
Can you transfer between people?
I believe you
As-
can.
as- Aside from being dead?
No, I believe you can. I don't think they're no drop, no trade this time. So you can,
Let's see. It just says no export. So yeah, I guess you
yeah,
can trade them between people.
trade them away. Give them to your friend. Give them to your buddies. Which is, I think, is a nice change. The last time it was a little bit stressful because, well, like even the basket, you can take your basket out and give it to a different character if you want to switch characters to play.
Yeah.
So you can do that. So then you don't have to buy a basket for every character that wants to play, which I think is an improvement from the last event. And like I said, I guess if the event comes back in the next year, if the currency is the same, you should technically be able to use anything you collected in the previous year. But I don't know if that's going to be a thing or not.
I don't know if I agree with that one because then you just sit there and just front load it and not have to do any work next time.
Oh, yeah, a year from now. Yeah, I know. That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really so much. It's a year. It's 12 months, dude. It's fine. Come on, man. Come on. A whole year, that bothers you? I mean, if it was like next week, maybe, but, come on. A year?
You don't think people won't do that? You don't think?
I don't even think this game's got enough content in it to keep people around for a year, to be honest with you. But,
ouch.
I mean, if they somehow do a magic trick and make everything all better, then yeah. But still, who cares? It's just a currency. And if it's a seasonal currency, so what? Let them hold on to them for 10 years if they want, and then turn them in. I don't care. It's their currency. If they want to take up the bank space with them, let them do it.
Okay.
That's my opinion, but yours may vary. Even though you'd be wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. Okay. That's it. Glad you're coming off. I'm gonna piss everybody off now.
That's it. So
let me tell you what the community needs to stop doing.
Yeah. Could you tell us? So this is kind of a. Did you have anything else? Did you want to?
No,
I do anything yet, or you want to go ahead? And, yeah. Okay.
No, I'm saying I like the event. It's nice. It's simple. Anyone can do it. And it doesn't, and like I said, the only thing I really hate about the last event was the drop rate was crap, and the 50 layers of crafting was annoying. I don't mind some crafting, but the amount of crafting you had to do in the last one was asinine. This one is a nice break.
Asinine, yes. I have to agree with you. This is better. No, okay. No, it wasn't too much. No, I don't care. Just don't say anybody was sucking anything. You'll be fine. All right, so. Yeah.
No D words?
No, yeah. Ixnay on the ick day word, yeah. So, yeah. So the I guess it's not necessarily the main topic, but one of the big topics I had this week, and I just kind of wanted to clarify some things about avoiding the PvP, right? Mm-hmm. I mentioned this. There was a fort coming under attack last week, and somebody mentioned that we should go defend that, and I thought, nah, just let them have it. Just let them have it. It's like we'll get it back later. And the one percenters, obviously, there are certain groups that feel like you have to do everything all the time. You know what I mean? You have to be everywhere, do everything, make sure everything is tip-top shape, and all the mats are in the buildings, and all the walls are 10, and all that stuff. And then there's other people, like newer people aren't going to get that. So to us, since we're not, I wouldn't say we're anywhere near like top tier anything, but to us it's more about do we want to go through the work? How many, is it 3 dregs guys just baiting us? Is it whatever, is it one good guy that's going to get 2 or 3 of us to go out there and kill us all? We don't always know. So sometimes, and especially when you're ahead, I think at that particular time, we were probably about 100,000 points ahead. I wasn't too worried about it. I think we're almost 400,000 ahead now, but So I'm even less likely to go defend something now. It's like, please let them take it so we can take it back later, give us something to do. But yeah, so anyway, I think I upset someone because they didn't understand why I wouldn't engage. And I said, well, we don't have to. I mean, it's not required. And I felt like that it caused a brain freeze. You know what I mean? Like, does not compute. I don't know if you remember that conversation.
I know exactly which conversation you're talking about.
Yeah. So, and I think they ended up hanging up the phone on us. So it was definitely they were not excited about my answer there. And I thought, it's just like that time, like we say that the people they come over from Dregs and they bring the cheesiest cheese characters they can find that we can't hurt. And then they get mad if we don't come out and play outside with them when they come to our fort and take down the wall. Well, we figure if you're coming to take the fort or the keep, then you should take it. That's what we would do. If we knock down your wall, we're coming in.
Yeah, if you're attacking, we're not obligated to leave the safety of our wall and guards.
Yeah, that's part of the gig. That's why you have them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point? But so I don't want people, and I guess the one comment that got to me was like, well, you're avoiding PvP. And I thought, well, not really. I'm making a choice to not engage because we don't need to. It's more of a decision.
I guess it kind of depends on how you take that.
Yeah.
Both correct. You decided not to engage because there's literally no point. And in the same token, by making that decision, you were avoiding PvPs. I guess it just depends on how you want to take that.
Yeah, I guess that's fine, but I'm just saying I think that I can understand their point of view and I hope they understand mine. You don't have to engage. I mean, they can call it whatever they want. They can call it a PvP game, which I disagree with. They can call it whatever they want. There's a lot of things in place in the game where people can avoid PvP because a huge number of them don't want to engage in it, right? So, yeah. I mean, crafting and all that, there's the crafting, like I said, is the most elaborate thing in the game. So that's why I call it a crafting simulator with PvP enabled, because everybody likes crafting. Everybody I talk to pretty much, there's like a handful of guys I know that are like me and Highlander that absolutely want nothing to do with it. But most people are like, and then they know, there's a lot of smarter people out there than me. Like they know like you had a conversation today with this guy that knew everything about every stat on your character and what you need for this and how you gauge that. And I could never tell you any of that stuff.
Yeah, no, I had to like have him repeat that because couldn't take
notes. Yeah, you almost need to take notes. Yeah, you had to take notes.
I did. It's like, can you say that one
more
time?
You want, two legs and a glove or a hand.
At one point, I thought I was ordering lunch.
Yeah, I was like, oh my Lord, this is hard. Okay, so yeah, I just got to understand, like everybody, the level curve in this game is huge. I mean, like between the knowledge of the systems, the knowledge of the character, the avatars, the knowledge of the actual combat systems, the knowledge of the crafting systems, even the housing system's pretty complicated. But I think comparatively to crafting, it's nothing. But
if you want to call that a housing system,
well, it is. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I've seen a lot worse. But yeah, so it's not. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, you can build walls and do all kinds of weird stuff and. You can get pretty creative if you want to. I'm more of a build a square around it kind of guy, and call it good. In one of my arenas, I have a wall that's not perfectly straight. Like I had to make an L to get it around something, and that was a stretch for me. It was hard because I see it and then I think, oh, it's not symmetrical. It needs to be perfectly square. But that's just me. So anyway, yeah, I think in these types of games, in MMOs, especially if you've been around a while, there's a lot of people, and I used to talk to a lot of people in UO as well, there's a lot of people out there that accept the fact that they can be killed. And some of them accept the fact that they can lose all or half of their stuff or whatever, but we just don't see them because they don't want to be found. You know what I mean? They hide, and they're good at hiding. I mean, how many times have you been running around? All of a sudden, you see a mob evading, and you don't know why. You know, it's like,
Or you know why, but you want to know
yeah,
where
you
that
don't know
person
where
is.
the person is that got it to evade, or you hear a noise. You know, somebody gets in combat with something. You go looking around trying to find them. You can never find them. They disappear. They're very good at disappearing.
Yeah, like
Um,
right now I'm running around and there's a sun guy on an Elkin, and I'll hear him and I'll look around, but it'll take me a while to find him just because the dude doesn't want to be found.
yeah, he just doesn't want to
But
be
I
seen.
and I know why he doesn't want to be seen because he's part of. But
He's got too many peeps on him, probably.
that and
I'm sorry,
uh,
cheeps, not
Jeeps,
peeps.
peeps,
But
yeah,
they look
whatever
like
that.
peeps, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
they're peeps. They're
They're
just kind of
peeps.
like
They're just
copyright infringement.
yeah. I'm sure that that means that somebody from Peeps would actually have to play Crowfall, and I doubt that's gonna happen. Actually, their own community would probably sell them out, so they're probably doing themselves a favor.
I was say, really, you really that? Come on, let's be realistic here. But yeah, no. As far as the avoiding PvP thing or combat, whatever, I in that particular scenario, I'd look at it as if it was a sports game. If one team is absolutely just kicking the living shit out of another team to the point where there's no way they could come back, I believe there's actually a rule where it's just like, just stop,
Yeah,
just stop scoring. The
yeah,
game has been over for the past 30 minutes because I think it's something like was it something along the lines of good sportsmanship or something. I don't know what the
yeah.
actual rule is called. But that's basically it. Like we were so far ahead, they could have taken the whole map for a day and they still wouldn't have caught up.
They could tick it for a week and they can't catch up. The ticks don't tick as fast as I don't know where people get it in their head, but they think the ticks go much faster than they do. I mean, we're at plus 1,032 or something. At least last time I looked, and that's pretty far ahead. I mean,
Right
that's
now,
no joke. I
right now
can
we're
tell
at
you.
1,293. Earth
Oh,
and Sun are at a
200. Yeah.
collective plus 36.
Yeah, and that's just happening because of the event, and that's only outposts. Like they're not
Yeah.
even touching any of the bigger stuff, which goes up to there. So, yeah, I mean, but we've had the lead the whole time, which still want to talk to Wretched about that prediction he made where we were going to get our butts kicked, but didn't
Mhm.
happen. Yeah, maybe it
Yeah.
will, but I just don't think at this point. I mean, the effort that they would have to make at this point to win would be enormous,
Yeah.
especially Sun. And I mean,
Which
Moon's not even that much. Sun's or Earth's not even twice Sun, so it's like, eh.
and Dregs ends in what, a day or two, so I think we'll start seeing an influx of players from there again.
Yeah.
So we'll probably see that effort be put in,
I don't think
but
it'll be a full effort. I think they're just
I
taking stuff because they run into outposts on accident and they
yeah,
have to
think
engage.
I don't think it'll be an effort to win. I think it'll just be an effort just to sit there and
Slow us down.
generate. I was gonna say generate content.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and we don't really fall for that a banana in the tailpipe thing. Like if you're trying to bait us, sometimes we'll go for it, but most of the time we're just like, yeah, whatever, dude. You know, we already know. We know what you're doing. We know what time it is. We know who it is. We know when it's Cowboy or when it's, you know,
Cool.
or HD 240. We know what time they come on. We know we're not falling for that. All you gotta do is ask in the general chat. Hey, anybody want to come fight me? And somebody will probably say okay. Then you don't have to worry. You don't have to bait anybody. You don't have to trick anybody. Just say it out loud. They're fine. They'll get it. They'll
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, but it kind of defeats the purpose of the game, though. I mean, the purpose of the game is large scale PvP, but I mean, nobody really wants to do that right now, or can't. They either don't want to or can't.
Well, I think that the purpose of any game is whatever you make of it. I don't think it has to be any
Well,
particular thing. It would be nice to know what
well,
they're
there's a
going, where they're
theme.
going. You know, yeah. It would be nice to know if it's if they're going more for an MMO feel or if it's a hybrid feel or something. But whatever they used to call it, the Throne War Simulator thing, it's like I said before. I think that's kind of played out. I mean, we've conquered all the thrones. We've conquered them many times, and we're never going to be able to beat the bigger guilds. I mean, it's just not going to happen. I mean, but in the Shadow, we have a better chance because it's faction based. So that's why we stay there, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just. I think sometimes with these people that don't want to be seen, it's just they just don't, they don't want to engage. They're never going to engage, and then if they're avoiding PvP, then I think that's perfectly fine.
Each their own how they want to play. It's player choice.
Right. So, I mean, because a word that I heard a lot today, which was driving me crazy. I don't like the word forced. If you're using the word forced to describe what you're trying to do in your game, I feel like you're doing it wrong. You can encourage things, but you don't want to force things. You know what I mean? And you even said that, I think, I don't like feeling like I'm forced to do something. Well, that's true for like most people. They don't want to be forced to do something they don't have to do or don't want to do. And even though this game has PvP enabled, that doesn't mean that it's like everybody in the game, that's their favorite thing to do. Maybe sometimes, but not all the time. I mean, not everybody can, the stamina some of these people have is incredible. I mean, they really just want to do that all the time. And maybe that's okay for them, but, don't be mad because everybody else doesn't feel the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's very much else I can actually say to that. You pretty much summed it up. I mean,
it was just concerning to me that somebody was that angry that we didn't want to engage a fort, and I mean I was just like, especially just I don't even think they got the fort. I think they actually failed because the forts ain't no joke now. You gotta toughen it up a little bit to get a fort. You can't hit one solo right now. So, I mean, you can, but it's gonna take you a month of Sundays to get that sucker down. And we have some pretty keen eyeballs out there this time that are watching for walls having holes in them, or when they do the little trick to get the guards down to 4 and all. Even 4 guards, though, is still pretty tough solo. You can still get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, if that scenario was happening earlier in the campaign where the lead wasn't so massive, then I probably would have jumped on and gone and helped out with that or try to take care of it. But the timing of it was just like, why even bother?
Well, and we were all going to dinner anyway, so it's like, whatever, we'll get it back later. We don't even know if it was the first or the second, because there's always 2 sieges on the same fort per day in the Shadow. So if it was on its first siege, we could have just got it back. And actually, we did get it back in 3 hours. So I remember there was one where they took it and we ended up having it. By the time I was back from dinner and everything, we'd already recovered it, so it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, but and we've beaten this topic down though.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat you down in a minute.
Oh my!
Date night.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, so it's not your fiduciary duty to do everything 24 hours a day. You don't have to do that. If you can, God bless you. But us 50-year-old dudes, All right. Let's see what else I got. I got stuff.
You got stuff?
Well, I mean, and it's really weird because the Shadow just isn't played the same as Dregs. Mm-hmm. And I think it throws people off because Dregs is pretty, like, if you go, like, I've gone out there and attacked some outposts, usually somebody will come. And it's like, wow, that's crazy. But they're more serious about the points, because when you're fighting, 25, 30 enemies, the points are more important because you don't have as much stuff. They can't, I mean, I guess they could, but technically it shouldn't be possible for one guild to rule the entire campaign. Like in the Shadow, like Moon rules the entire campaign.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know that that's possible in the dregs. I mean, I suppose if your guild's big enough, or if you had enough alliances, but then at that point, why don't they just play the faction one? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I just don't get the hate for shadows. Because honestly, the shadows is literally the exact same thing as drags. Only difference is one's a faction versus faction, and the other one's a pseudo faction versus faction.
Well, yeah, and dregs is guild versus guild, but you can have alliances. So it's basically,
Yeah.
if your alliance and your guilds are big enough, you're a faction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just a point, or it's just like, why don't you just have everybody join Sun? You know, or join Earth or Moon or whatever it is.
Or-
You know, and people, I think the stigma with Shadow is that originally it was touted as being a training ground for the dregs, and I think
It's not even that.
it's, well, I mean, you can learn a lot of stuff there, but the way they've watered down dregs now too, but they watered down a lot of it, and a lot of it's just because, like, especially now, people really don't understand all the systems anymore. And they've changed them enough to where if you tried to watch a video that was made 6 to 8 months ago about the game, it would not be right. And I think for the most part, for Crowfall especially, the videos that come out are all flexing, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody just shows their flex, and here's our attack on this group or that group, and they don't even talk most of the time. They just play some music. Kind of like the old, back in the day when we used to play those other games. People would just make the flexing videos where they killed somebody's base.
Yeah, I would say it reminds me an awful lot of a certain game we used. How to say it? Battle Pirates. It reminds me a lot of Battle Pirates.
And Vega and War Commander, they all did it.
Yeah, 99% of all the videos were just people flexing their might and destroying other people's stuff. And I think there was maybe one tutorial set of tutorial videos out there, and I made them. I'm the one who made them.
Yeah, well, when I used to make my ones for Vega, I had to be very careful because, obviously it's a PvP game. And, when I'd go out and try to teach people stuff, I'd had to deal with, if I did it live, I would get killed, and they would come and attack my base while I'm in the middle of something, so it was just there was always that confusion. PvP games are really hard to do tutorials for unless you do them offline. I don't. That's
how I did mine. I did them as YouTube videos, and for Battle Pirates anyways.
Yeah.
I don't think there anyone else tried to do tutorial videos on that one. They may have been.
I don't know. I didn't really care about Battle Pirates much, but I mean, I played it for a little bit. I remember people every once in a while, somebody will ask me, "Why don't you come back to Battle Pirates?" I'm like, "What? Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
I said, "What are you, nuts?" Yeah. Right. No, I'm not coming back to that. But yeah, so I mean, there's that. Yeah. So.
And I tried. While we're on that subject of videos, like I tried I didn't even try making the video yet. I just tried putting together a script of what I would say as far as, tutorials and review and whatnot. And I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it because I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
What exactly is it that I'm trying to sit there and convey to these players?
Well, and that's the thing is, go ahead.
No, so as far as like the review video I was doing, I scrapped that because I just couldn't. Not much has really changed, honestly.
Yeah.
Not enough has changed to sit there and do a review video at this point. And as far as the tutorial one, I'm still going to try and do that, but at the same time, it's like, I'm still learning the systems and whatnot. So like, how much can I honestly pass on in terms of knowledge when I'm myself?
We're still learning stuff. We learned a whole bunch of stuff today we didn't know nothing about. We're like, oh, okay, I didn't know you can do that. I mean, there are some old school dudes that actually, when I used to do testing for the game and stuff, it was only the combat. I only ever did the combat. You would have never seen me in there testing crafting. I'd be like, what? So all I ever did was combat. So when these guys talk about the crafting, I'm just like amazed at how deep the systems are, comparatively to, almost anything else I play. I'm pretty much won't do. I mean, I used to do crafting in Ultima Online, but that was so easy. It's just like you just had to click on a couple things and you made something. But I don't. The stuff they do, that they did, even World of Warcraft, I didn't like doing the crafting. I just ended up, and you should be able to make a good amount of money just going out there and killing whatever, killing people, killing monsters, whatever it is. You should be able to make the money doing that. You shouldn't have to rely on crafting. But in this game, people really like the crafting, so
I don't think they like it so much as just it's
they
such
just
an integral
do
part
it.
of the game that you don't have a choice.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the difference. It's for me, I don't consider anything I don't like, I just don't do it. And I think a lot of people are that way, but there's some people that will just excel at something even if they don't like it. They're just driven, like to do that stuff. And I'm just like, hey, God bless you, man. But yeah, I'm not doing it. Just put it on a vendor and I'll come buy it from you. How about that?
Yeah.
So I figured like they're probably just doing another test on the since they moved the event date for Easter to the week where Dregs ends. It's going to be a test to see how many people show up, if those people engage in the conquest, or if they only engage with the Easter eggs. It'll be interesting to see what's going on here towards the end of this. The Dregs ends on Sunday.
I think so.
And I think last I looked, we were in like 23rd place.
I mean, we'll see how the alliance things work. Because, I mean, you're limited to 12 people, so.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I was talking about before is the award system is, I don't like the master looter system that they use. I think you should be allowed to, as a guild, decide to do even split or round robins or whatever you want. I think it should be at the macro level, just like as if you were in a party, to go out and do your thing. Because I think that the way I don't know if you're in an alliance, if that counts as just one giant guild or what that is, but.
No, I think the way well, even if you are, what they normally do is they break the alliance at the last second and then just dominate the top.
Well, yeah, they're manipulating the scores. And I think the fact that they're doing that shows that there's something wrong with the reward system as well, because they shouldn't have to do that. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. Yeah, right. I agree with you. So yeah, the reward system, even in the shadow, like the shadows, I feel like, if everything's just a participation award, I think that there's a big, huge problem with that. I think we need to have individual awards. And you and I talked about this before, where we're like, we like to compete with each other just as much as we like to compete with Earth and Sun. We want to fight for like the top slots and things and get little rewards for that too. If you do that, then it encourages people, if they so choose. Excuse me, if they choose to, engage with the rest of their faction, which I think is a great thing.
Because right now in Shadows, what I've noticed, especially towards the end of Shadow, you get an influx of people from Dregs.
Yeah.
Who just go sit in the temple for X amount of hours, and then just claim.
Just so they get the participation reward. Yeah, whatever that is.
Last Shadow, I busted my ass to try and sit there and be as helpful as possible, being the top, whatever. Now, like, where am I at? I'm not even in the top 10, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many things. There's so many things in the even in Shadow where you don't get rewarded for defending a keep, and you don't get rewarded for doing a lot of things, and I find that to be kind of problematic. I mean, it definitely makes me not, when I think, do I want to waste an hour on this when it's not going to gain me anything? Do I want to do it? And I wish there was. I mean, I don't know what the solution is on that, but I'm just saying there's a lot of things in the game. You gotta get people to agree to share their money with you to level up these things, and you have to convince people to run out and go get mats and all that stuff. A lot of the Dregs guys, they'll come in and they'll demolish something or they'll take it, but then they'll just leave it because they expect the rest of the faction to take care of it for them.
Yeah, but I think you mentioned the solution. I think whether you realize it or not, individual rewards because
Well, yeah, there
they already
should be
keep track of
more.
that most death, most kills and stuff. You could sit there and do most contribution to fort building or keep upkeep, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, who
Well,
did
I
the most
meant like
leveling?
defenses and stuff. That's the kind of things. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if there's a problem with it, why they don't reward you for defending if you were there or whatever, or do they reward you for kills? I don't even know. I mean, I know you
They
get a
don't.
kill
None of
counter, but
that's
they don't
rewarded.
reward you for anything
That's
that
what I'm
like
saying
that.
is I'm saying create those rewards. You
Yeah.
know, because as of the moment, the only rewards you really get is you have your uh, contrast rewards, and then and I think also divine favors. You can get a total of four different rewards: your conquest, glory, power, and wealth, and that's it.
Yeah.
And none of those really individually pay out all that well.
Right.
They don't. So, and even if you take all four at the legendary level, it's still kind of a mediocre payout. There's really no incentive to put in any effort at all.
Yeah, I just think there needs to be a whole rebalancing of that stuff. I
Yeah,
like
that's
the shadows. I mean, like I said, I'd like to see other campaigns, and they don't, like I said, Dregs doesn't have to be synonymous with a rule set. Dregs could just be a place that you can go. Shadow is a place that you can go.
yeah.
To do whatever. Yeah, they do have different rule sets, but I think until it may take a lot of time for them to convince people that the Shadows got pretty much the same rewards and everything as the Dregs does. So the
At this
only
point, the
difference
shadows
really is
is
the factions.
I'll say dregs and shadows at this point to me are the exact same thing. The only difference is the game mode. That's it. They're just two different game modes with relatively the same. Everything else about them is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that they're going to even get they'll I mean whether Dregs is ends up being all short campaigns and Shadows a longer campaign, that's fine too. But they can still have other campaigns, and I hope that they do have different objectives because I'd like to play something different than Throne War. Right?
Hmm.
There should be other options. I mean, we should be able to play, capture the flag type things or other, like World of Warcraft's got one that I always liked. It's called Alterac Valley, and it had
Mhm.
all these things you could do on the goal was to get into the stronghold of the other side's base or whatever. And maybe for Crowfall there could be three or whatever. I don't know. And eventually it's kind of like a King of the Hill thing or whatever. But you had to complete certain objectives and even get into PvE with bosses at some points just to get progression to the next stage of the battle with the enemy, and the enemy could fight you the whole time. So it ended up being down the road, it ended up being just everybody was powerful enough that they could just mad dash to the other side and break their way in and kill the main boss. I mean, obviously there were some setbacks there, but I mean the concept was cool.
Yeah.
And if they could make it work for high level geared players and low alike, then it might be okay. I think that the curve though, between the skill based players, geared players and stuff like that is huge. I think it's too large. Because you got a lot of skilled. There's a lot of skilled players out there that don't need to be wearing all legendary stuff. They could beat you in a paper bag, but they want that advantage to where they're basically probably invulnerable unless you just totally gank them with a whole bunch of people. But you know what I mean? It's one of those things where the curve is pretty steep, and I think they need to work on that to balance that out a little bit. It shouldn't be that steep. I mean, you can't do anything about skill because some people are just going to be good no matter what.
Yeah.
But you can do things about gear and stuff like that where in PvE, gear I think is more important than PvP because the PvP is supposed to be skill based. It's not supposed to be. Uh, it's not supposed to be gear based. You
But
should.
it is.
Yeah, I know it is, but I don't think it should be. I think it should
I
be.
mean, I think gear should play a. There we go. There it is. To play a part in it,
Yeah.
because skill can only take you so far. So I think gear should still play a part, but it shouldn't be the main part.
Right. Yeah. No. And I think right now gear is pretty heavily relied on. Everybody, they'll poo poo that war tribe gear, but when that's all you got, you better just figure out how to fight or run. One of the two. So,
Next, I think I can give an example of that. I was fighting Raging Cowboy on some gear I made, but it was very, very bad gear. In fact, War Tribe gear was better than what I made,
yeah.
and he was just absolutely kicking the crap out of me. Even though he was wearing War Tribe and I was wearing crafted, I went back and I recrafted my gear into something a little bit better, and then suddenly I was winning.
Yeah.
Gear made all the difference there.
Well, and I've noticed too, like, I really hated, like, some of my characters when they were in the common and the uncommon vessel. But once I got to rare, I felt better about things. I felt like I was, I could compete a little bit, and then I've got a couple with purple epic gear now, and yeah, I feel very confident in that gear. I don't know if it's just the fact that it's you know the color or what, but that there's bonuses on that gear,
Oh yeah,
and you're able to, especially you can tell more when it comes to like killing mobs. Like I've got my people in the epic gear. I can like one shot all the guards at an outpost, say, but can't do that on a green vessel, right, or a
yeah.
uncommon. So there's definitely some advantages there, as far as you got to if you got the bigger DPS weapons, the better uh, mitigated armor, to stop you from getting bled to death or burned to death or whatever it is,
And
then you're doing much better. You're just going to feel better, you know.
and this kind of goes into how crafting is basically that gate
Yeah.
that just stops people from progressing. And there's uh, I had a conversation earlier with a bunch of other players, and I asked them this: what would their opinion be on if once you reach a certain point with your exploration discs and belt and whatnot, what would your opinion be on players able to hit mother loads solo?
Yeah.
And there was some conversation. There was a lot of conversation, mixed opinions, but it basically boiled down to player choice, because as right at the moment you can't do mother loads solo. You're basically forced into doing it with another person.
Right.
But if you want the ability to make your own gear and do your own crafting and all that, you can't progress without doing that. You're forced into it. Not everyone wants to sit there and mine those with someone else. Not everyone can find someone to do it with. Not everyone has the time to sit there and wait for someone else.
Well, yeah.
So my thing was like, okay, make it player choice then, and that's kind of what we eventually ended up sort of agreeing on, was make it player choice. Whereas if you wanted to do it solo, sure, but the benefits wouldn't be nearly as good as if you did it with a group. For example, I forget who said it, but let's say you had two people doing this. One person had critical harvest chance and had critical amount. In a group, both those stats would be applied to the
Everything
mother ledger.
stacks. Yeah.
Yeah, everything would stack, as opposed to if you're one player, you only have one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's just things like that where you're just basically. I understand this is it's supposed to be, or the devs want it to be a social game where you're working with a bunch of other people to progress and whatnot, but that's not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone is here to sit there and be playing in a group of 2 to 4, 5, 6, 20 people, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Well, even World of Warcraft, there's a huge, there are people that love raiding and that's all they do and blah blah blah. Sure, that's fine, but why cut everybody else out of the game entirely? Why not? I mean, if I play any MMO, I can pretty much get along just fine without a lot of help. But I mean, obviously, you know, it's nice when you do have that help.
Yeah.
But if you can't have the help, can you still have a goal for yourself? Can you still set goals? I think a lot of people, and me included, if I don't have anything to do, then I just go do something else. You know what I mean? If I feel like, well, I'm bored, I don't really want to, you know,
Yeah.
do this or that. I mean, like right now, let's say take Shadow as an example. Well, Moon owns the whole thing pretty much, except for what we just saw: 6 outposts for one and 6 outposts for the other two factions, and that's not enough to get me outside, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to go outside and chase down 12 outposts. That's just not enough. I need more to do.
I
You
mean,
know?
12 outposts, that takes you what, maybe an hour or so, depending how far apart they are,
Yeah.
all for 24 points.
Well, and the thing is that the people that are getting those things, they know that it's not really beneficial to do so. Like there's no incentive, you know what I mean, for them to go
Hmm.
get that outpost or go get a fort, or God forbid they try to get a keep, especially you know this late in the game, because they're gonna have to work harder at it. You know, they're gonna need more people, and I find that that's a lot of the things is like there's certain guilds that can say, okay, this is our siege window. We're going to siege at this time, and they can get a certain number of people to show up. Where the casual people, yeah, some days you're going to have 3 or 4 or whatever, 5 people, but some days you're just going to have 2, maybe only 1, and that makes a huge impact on your your decision
Yeah.
making.
But the point I was getting at was this game needs a bit more player choice. If you want to do something solo, you should have the option to do that, but just know you're not, I don't think you should be able to progress as quickly as if you were someone who was working in a group.
I think
I
most
don't,
games do that nowadays. I don't know why Crowfall's abstaining from that, at least
yeah,
yet.
so I mean, that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah,
So,
no, I agree with you on that. I
I
think
mean,
they should.
if,
You should be able to progress solo. I mean, I don't expect to be, you know, Pure Land levels of crafting, but you should be able to, you know, make yourself some gear, and maybe it could
yeah,
be good. Maybe more people would be inspired to sell gear. You know, if you know they
yeah,
can do it or they can make it or whatever. I mean, right now it's like, you know, you can buy stuff, but usually it's like mistakes or
yeah,
copies. You know, it's
yes,
hard to get, you know,
and that's your
specific for your
alternative.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's your alternative because you need to hit mother loads in order to get materials to make better vessels and to craft jewelry, all of which is an integral part of this game's progression because both of those will sit there and make you break your character, but you can't do that by yourself. You need someone to go with you to do that.
It's those
Or
materials, huh? Yeah, I hate the
yeah,
material grind on this
yeah,
game.
yeah. Or as you mentioned, just go grind out an absolute metric ton of gold, which is still going to take a while to go buy the gear because gear is expensive in this game. Because the amount
Yeah,
of
and I
people
believe the
crafting.
price is lower than it was when the game first launched. So
Wait, what? No, no, I said
they
the
used to
price
sell
of gear.
vessels for certain like legendary vessels used to be like 1 million or close to 500,000 or higher
Okay,
for
so prices have
and
gone up.
they've
You said
gone
they've gone
down.
down.
They have gone down. You can get a vessel much cheaper than 500,000 now for a legendary.
Okay, I'm talking about gear, not vessels. But I feel like
Well,
those
I
prices have
mean,
gone up. I feel like the price is going up because the amount of crafters you have in the game selling stuff is going down. Like, have you, like last time I went to Errant's Traders, the amount of vendors there had gone down.
well,
They were
yeah, but
either
I don't
just
think
straight up
I haven't
miss.
noticed any big, huge price increase.
Hmm,
But then again, I buy a lot of stuff from our own vendors now because
yeah, so
we
yeah,
have
there's no
vendors
need.
that do them, and our stuff's cheap. DV trade.
Did he just
So
engage a group boss? Yes,
who
he did.
who
Oh
did?
no, that sun guy, he's gonna die.
Well, you can help him. Just don't AOE.
No.
No, see, you're avoiding PVE. God
No,
dang it!
I was hoping he would. He managed to get away.
Oh, good. So, yeah. Did you have any other topics?
Um, aside from that, yeah, let me pull my notes. I got some notes here. Uh, there's still the issue of, and this was kind of something around forums, was the invulnerability thing with players being invulnerable out of siege window inside forts and keep zones. And there were
Mm-hmm.
some arguments made both ways for that. And I don't really see an issue either way, whether you're invulnerable or not. If someone follows you in, they're either going to not be able to kill you and die to the guards, or they may kill you, but they're still going to either die to the guards and the tick damage that used to be there, whichever, whether reverted or not. The main issue I have is the guards being invulnerable and aggroing outside of the fort or keep boundary.
That's still a
That's the
thing.
issue. That is still a thing. That's the issue I have with it. So I think that should be fixed. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, then how are you supposed to sit there and bait the guards out and prep it and yada yada? I'm like, bring a bigger group. Just bring a bigger group.
To
You
to
know?
do what to it? To prep it?
Yeah, look, people will sit there and they'll take down a wall, bait
Yeah.
the guards out, and then come back next siege window because and have an
Oh,
easier time because they've already baited the guards out and either killed them or just made it to where it's easier to get to them. But I don't think guards. So I mean that's the only counter argument I could think to that. But I don't think guards should be leaving the fort and keep boundaries outside of a siege window, and be invulnerable.
yeah.
Pick one or the
I
other.
don't think if you're in a siege and they're not invulnerable, then you should be able to kill them.
Yeah. My thing is, if they're going to aggro outside of the boundaries of the fort to keep, you should be able to kill them if they're going to chase you out there outside of a siege window. Because I'm tired of.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm
That's Are you
tired. Because a
talking if
lot
the
of
walls are down or something?
well, the walls are down. Yeah, sure. If the walls are down, multiple times I'll be farming and the mob I'm attacking will sit there and just aggro a guard, or I'll get too close by accident, and a guard will aggro and come out and start kicking the crap out of me. But I can't do anything to defend myself because they're invulnerable because it's not in a siege window. I don't think
Yeah.
that should be a thing.
No,
If
they
the
should
guard,
be pretty new. I don't know why they would aggro when they're invulnerable anyway, but
yeah,
I mean,
either
yeah,
don't make them aggro or make
they
them
shouldn't
kill.
aggro. If they can't be killed, they shouldn't aggro. I
Yeah,
mean, but you can't kill them either. So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
just everything should be neutral.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, okay.
or
I was
maybe I
getting
didn't do a very good
confused.
job explaining. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Outside of a siege
so
window, guards should not be invulnerable and be able to aggro on you.
yeah, they should not aggro. That's
Yeah.
true, and I'm sure maybe that's just something that was an oversight in the change, but maybe they'll fix it. I don't know. I haven't really heard too much about it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
Um,
a lot about it, but doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just means I didn't see it.
Yeah, as far as dregs with the new crafting system, I absolutely love that. That seems to be a common consensus after reading some of the stuff in forums. And honestly, I think that system should be the new main one. At least, I mean, in some shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah, which thing are you?
The crafting system that's currently in
Oh
dregs
yeah,
right
I
now.
like that crafting. So man, you're gonna get
Yeah.
the crafters are gonna be up in arms.
So,
But
yeah, so
no, I agree with to a point because there's just I just the complexity of it is I'm sure really nifty for a few people, but I just don't know that there's a huge contingent. I think like what you said earlier, it's like you don't think people really like the crafting; they just do it because they have to.
yeah,
I mean, what would they be doing if they weren't doing that? Would they be enjoying the game? What would they be
I,
doing? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Maybe
I,
that is
I,
their enjoyment. I don't know, but
it could be.
I
Some
think
people
it's
are like
way
that.
too elaborate. I mean,
As it is now, yes, I definitely think it's too elaborate. But um, so I don't know how well this idea is going to go over. Probably not that well. Most of them don't. But take the the one thing I liked about Dregs was you came in with starting gear. Like you didn't come in with your crafted gear or anything. Crafting was
Yeah.
super easy. I would say get rid of the import tokens and do that for both dregs and shadows, but your character comes in at level 30. The hell with leveling from 1 to 30. That was
Yeah, I
not a
thought
good
that was
idea.
silly. I remember that
But
guy said, "But that's the only way new player. No new player is going to go into Dregs. They're
yeah,
just going to
no,
be like confused and
no,
beaten."
no. So you take a level 30 character in, on starting gear,
I don't
and you
even
keep
understand why you have to have the vessel thing even involved in it at all. Anyway,
yeah, I don't
what's the
I
point? The progression race thing. It doesn't work for I'd say a huge contingent of the people because the only
well,
people that are going to win the progression race are the ones that can play like a lot.
I would say for
And
the longer campaign like Shadow, sure, keep the vessels, just lower the price. I'm sorry, 500,000 for a blue vessel. You're
well,
out of your
the thing
damn
is though,
mind.
is you have to take a fort to do that. So, okay, if it's in
And
a
that
faction situation, it might be easier.
and that was my next
Then,
thing.
yeah,
Is the next thing I was going to bring up was the way that it's done right now is the only way to sit there and craft the upper tier gears. You have to take a fort. Get rid of that. Don't have it limited to the forts. Have the ability to still do that in the temple or something.
yeah, or yeah, like I said, I don't
Because
even understand because I'm like ready to, when I got to level 30, which I didn't like the whole grinding up to 30 thing, but once I got there, I just wanted to go out and start attacking stuff, right? So,
mhm.
but then I realized, I started looking at all these other guys in their 34, 35, whatever, and 33s, and I'm thinking, Jesus, man, I don't want to. I just, did this grind up to 30. Now they want me to grind 31, 32, 33. No, just let us fight. I'm just like, can't we just fight? Can't we
My
just,
main issue was progression got capped immediately if you couldn't get a fort. You're basically stuck and you couldn't
yeah.
compete.
Well, yeah,
That was
right.
my main issue.
Yeah, that
I
is a problem.
So I'd say get rid of the whole thing where you can only sit there and craft what was it, like silver and beryllium tier gear and forts after you finish fully upgrading them. No, the hell with that noise. Be able to still craft that in the temple. That way it still lets people be competitive for those who have to come in late for one reason or another.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of easier gathering, easier crafting, because even in the temple zone, those super discs, whatever the super crafting gathering discs,
Yeah,
were
I never even
dropping.
got one of those.
Oh, I had them dropping really fast. I think I ended up getting 8 before I even left the temple zone.
Oh, really? I don't even think I got any. I don't even remember.
Yeah, and they were really easy to upgrade. I think the only bottleneck on it for me was Soul Essence, but I never went to Tainted Hills. It was I, I'm not going to Tainted Hills and Dregs. The hell with that noise.
Yeah, I don't know that that's a good idea.
Not at least at the part when I joined the campaign, I
Yeah,
would have been
no.
so far out geared. Everyone, because I was still using copper gear. But
Yeah.
no, I think that should be the new standard at the very least for shadows and dregs. You come in basic, your starting gear at level 30 on your character of choice. Get rid of the import tokens. You can't bring in, your crafted gear or whatnot. But no, because then the problem is like, what do you do with the crafted gear that people are making? So at home, I just talked myself into a corner.
You're solving
Shite.
your own problems today. Well, I mean, if they actually
Damn.
had a world where you could actually use all this stuff that you got made, that'd be great. But they don't
Yeah, we
have
need a
that.
we need a third game mode.
Well, yeah, they need to patch in the MMO part
Yeah, we need a
and make
third
us a
game mode.
world,
This
that's connected
this
to SkyPoint or is SkyPoint and it can be a completely new thing and it can have zones too and people can go around and do whatever the hell they want, use all this gear that they got and all these food. When you bring food items home and stuff, you can't really use them because you're not going to go take it all to. So if you're like Dino one time crafted a bunch of food, I ended up bringing that stuff home, right, to SkyPoint or to whatever, to the EK or whatever. Well, I can't really use it because most of my characters are too high for SkyPoint. So what do I do with it? You can't import it into the next thing. So what do I do with this food now? It's worthless. Plus, a lot of the food items gets negated the minute you touch
Hunger.
the hunger. So okay, so I don't know. There's just so many things. It's like, how are you even supposed to use any of this stuff? It's just a waste at that. I mean, I see people putting items like food and stuff on a vendor, and it's like,
Why?
why? You can't use it. I mean, it's not even to new players. You don't need it. I mean, it's not
I
required.
mean,
It's just a
I
it's just a buff,
guess
I guess. But
you know, the only reason I could think of using it is for downtime between campaigns. You're crafting up your next set of gear for the next campaign.
yeah,
So another thought I had, because the other one I just destroyed my own thoughts, or shot down my own idea, would be uh, first thing first they'd have to do is sit there and all the experimentation, buffs and difficulty reduction, all that and stuff.
hmm
They'd they'd have to probably put a hard cap on that or something, or do something with diminishing returns. But you put in that mega disc, and that's the main disc now you use for crafting and gathering.
yeah.
And no, I have to. No, that's not going to work either. Never mind. I have to sit there and go back and relook these ideas. I came up with these kind of spur of the moment. I got to go back and refresh them out. This isn't going to work.
Your spurs need sharpening there, bud.
Well, I had all this stuff written down for a while now. I just hadn't had the time to sit there and really sit down with them and flesh them out until now.
Well,
So I have some ideas. I got to work them out. I'll get back to you on them.
all right. Well, I'll be honest. I have more, but it's not critical. So, the
Oh,
only, huh?
sorry. One more actually.
What do you got?
Battle arenas. And I'm not talking about the EK ones because those don't work. And the reason why those don't work is because the characters you typically going to use are already locked into a campaign.
Yeah,
And you can't bring them to EK. So my idea is like an actual true separate battle arena. You can sit there and take your characters into, whether they're locked into a campaign or not, because you can't sit there and take what you have in there out. So you're bringing in what you have.
yeah,
So you're not purchasing anything new is my point. You're not using it to sit there and bring in new stuff into a campaign.
yeah,
Right? There's no Dura loss. And you can sit there and you can just practice all you want. And on top of that, it'll allow new players to sit there and create, for lack of a better term, trial characters. They can sit there and see, like, is this, something I want to put time and effort into? Is this a play style I like? Because, you got issues like where was it Highlander? He went through how many different classes and characters before he found one he liked?
a handful,
Yeah, a handful. And how much effort did he have to put into each one until he realized it wasn't going to work?
a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is another game that's already done this, and it works very well. I'm not going to say its name, so I think you're all tired of that.
Black Desert.
Damn it. Well,
I'll
yeah,
say
but
it. I ain't
yeah,
scared.
the battle arena and trial character system. It's a wonderful idea. It allows you to sit there and take a character that's theoretically already leveled up to a certain amount, gives you some decent gear to work with, and allows you to
Yeah,
sit there and practice on dummies and with other people if they happen to be around. And anything that you bring that you get in the battle arena stays in there. So you're not bringing in or bringing out gear once you take your locked character back into a campaign if that's the character you're using.
yeah. I suggested something like that before. I think that there's enough call for it. I mean, if Crowfall truly wants to be a game that has constant action, they're gonna have to do something like some
Yeah.
kind of battle arenas, whatever. They're gonna have to do something because that's the only way. I mean, except if people don't participate, but
Yeah.
otherwise,
Well, I mean, just for
I mean, people keep trying to
practice.
force the campaigns to be all these other things when people don't want to do that. Maybe I don't know how well it will go over, but I mean I think it's something that's worth exploring.
Yeah,
The
I
battle
mean,
arena type idea that you're talking about. Sure, I mean I've
yeah,
suggested that as well.
yeah. I know a lot of people are going to say use the EK, but as again, it's like EK doesn't always work.
Well,
Just
but you don't. Yeah, that's not necessarily. I mean, okay, I like the idea of an incentive, like In the EK, I mean, sure, if the guild leader is super rich or something, or the guild's rich and they want to offer incentives to people that win, that's fine. But the problem with the EK is you can't regulate anything in the EK. You can't say, oh, you can only wear blue war tribe gear or lower. You can't regulate it in any significant way so that the fights are more fair.
Mhm.
Where if you were in a battle arena, you could basically undress them or dress them down or whatever you want to do, you know, through the game systems. And I think that's more of a viable idea.
Yeah,
Um,
but even in the battle arena, I don't think it really like if you're bringing in your gear because you want to test your character out with that particular gear. I think it's fine. I don't think you should be limited to what you bring in.
if it's going to be a competition, though,
No,
it's got to be equal.
yeah, but no, this isn't meant to be a competition. This is mainly just to sit there for pure PvP practice. That's all it is. It's just a practice arena. I'm not talking. Okay, I'm not
And why
talking
wouldn't you
about
use the EK for that?
because with the practice arena, it allows you to sit there and there's nothing that you could sit there and buy in there and then bring back to a campaign. The character you want to work with is locked into a campaign. If you go to someone's EK, there's the potential there of you going in there, putting that in your person, and using that to try and sit there and bring more stuff back, even if you're out of import tokens. But also, if you go to an EK and you want to use your character weapons to be locked, you have to unlock them, and then you have to sit there and use import tokens all over again to bring them back in, and it's just an absolute logistical nightmare. Whereas the battle arena, you just bring them in, bring them back out, no tokens involved, doesn't unlock your character.
Why would a character that you're just testing be in a campaign?
It works both ways. You can create a trial character to test that out, or you can just bring a character in you like to practice with.
Oh,
It's been a while since you've played this one on Black Desert, hasn't it?
yeah, I don't do any of that.
Okay. Well, the way it works in that game is people are bringing in. It's basically one encompassing area, and you got people practicing with trial characters to see if it's something they like, and you also got other people in there who are just practicing with their mains.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fine. But you're I guess the part that was confusing me is the camp. Why would the campaigns have anything to do with that? You want
Because
them to be able to do that regardless of whether they're in a campaign
uh,
or not.
yeah, and right now you can't. You can't do that. If your character is locked into a campaign, in order to go into someone's EK, you have to unlock your character and then re-import it afterwards.
Oh.
That's the problem.
So if they were able to go to EKs, even if they're in a campaign, you don't want them to bring stuff back.
Well, I
Well, they
assumed
couldn't
that was the
anyway.
reason. I assumed that was the reason that they sat there and did it that way. I thought it was a prevention measure to keep people from just somehow glitching the system. If it's just an oversight, then, fix that.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not. It'd take me a while to wrap my head around really how that could work, but maybe the devs will understand a little bit better than I would, because I don't do that kind of thing anyway. But I mean, I can understand why people might want to test something. I think right now a lot of people use Test Center or whatever if it's just something they want to try it out, but or practice or whatever. Yeah, I don't know what the best solution is to that, but something they should definitely look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah, you can build whatever you want on the test center too, to whatever pretty much whatever specs. The only thing that's kind of a downer is you can't
Test
really do
center.
vessels and stuff
I would say
easily. But
is the test center like the test server?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, not everyone isn't that like a completely separate download?
yeah.
Yeah, no, see, I didn't even know about that. Not everyone knows about that. I'm
No,
talking
you
about
do.
something in the main. I'm talking about something in the main game. No.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that's
Yeah,
probably how they do it now, because there isn't such a thing as what you're asking for.
yeah, I know there isn't such a thing. That's why I'm bringing it up.
I understand that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it sounds interesting.
Oh, hype it up and see how it goes over later. See if I can explain it better in that way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter what I what I think. It's up to the devs if they want to get into that. I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure. I like the idea. I just wish they had an arena where people could go fight myself anyway. So I like it. Um, did you have any other stuff?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, I am good too. So I think we're gonna finish the campaigns. What I think Shadow ends in what, 2 weeks, something like that, 15, 14 days. It's getting down there.
15 days and 11 hours.
Ah, so yeah, and then so we'll see how this Easter egg hunt goes, and we'll give a report on that as soon as we get that far, and because I think that's only going for about a week or so.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's really easy. I'm enjoying this. Is nice. I like this. This is a good easy.
Okay, yeah, I haven't. I've done a little bit. Not, I'm not real heavy duty grinder guy. So
This isn't even real grinding. It's just running around picking up Easter eggs.
yeah, yeah. I guess when you did it, you must have. There was probably less people on. When I was trying to do it, it took me a
Like
long time to even figure out what the eggs look like, and then I finally
it's a
found one.
I mean,
Oh,
once you see what they look like, they're pretty easy to spot. And I mean, I think there's me and two other people running around here, and they're spawning fast enough to where it's not a huge issue.
yeah. This morning, or when I was on early this morning, there was a lot of people, and I was just like, dude, where are these things? where where are they? I mean, I got 16, and I was in there running for about an hour, so I wasn't doing great. Um, so but we'll see. I'll try it again at some point and see if
I
I
think
can get me
it's
at least 150 of them things or whatever it is.
I think it's also finding a not so crowded Underhill place. Any Underhill will work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know where they're all at. I know some people know exactly where they're all at, but I don't know yet. I haven't
I just
bothered to
know
look.
where I know where one's at, and that's the one I went to.
Yeah, I know where one's at too, but it was pretty close to the temple gate, so it's probably not a good choice. That's probably not the best place to go.
I'll say that's probably where everyone and their mother's going.
And their mother was there too. I remember they were yelling at the kids. You boys play nice now. But anyway, so yeah, we'll probably be around again maybe next week.
Yeah,
We'll see how it goes. If we don't have anything new to report, we might take a break or whatever. But who knows? We don't like to make promises we can't keep. You know what I mean?
yeah.
All right. So thanks everybody for coming out and watching today. If you haven't watched any of the previous ones, always check the about section below the video, or or check in the description, um, and then hit that follow button so you know when we go live. And I think that's all we got. Sound good?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll be back in just a moment. I'm gonna shut this thing down. We will talk to you guys very soon.